I'm Anastasia Chatzka. I'm a fashion designer, pattern maker, and sewing educator, and I'm so happy you're here sewing along with me today. Welcome to Anastasia, and today I'm going to show you how to make finished cutouts. So cutouts in garments right now are so trendy and so popular. I'm sure you've seen all the trends where there's really big hearts on the front or on the jeans or on the back of something. Sometimes it's like a circle cutout on the side or an oval or it's under the bust. There's so many different places you can put a cutout. And I'm going to show you how to put a cutout anywhere and finish all of the edges and make it look professional. But today we are going to perform it on a pair of jeans. We are going to put cutout hearts all the way down the leg of a pair of jeans. So follow along and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And it's going to be so easy. If you're not already a subscriber to Anastasia, make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when all the new videos come out. So make sure you subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget, I teach sewing classes in my design studio here in Chicago, Illinois. You can also take them virtually as well. To create all these awesome cutouts on your jeans, you're going to need some scrap pieces of fabric. You're going to need your scissors, you're going to need some pins, you're going to need your seam ripper to open up those jeans, and you're going to need some chalk. We are going to be drawing some hearts today. I'm going to be putting the cutouts on these purple jeans today. Now, the pant leg is really slim, so I can't fit it on my sewing machine bed. So what I'm going to do is open up the outseam here because there's no edge stitch on the outseam on these pants. So it's going to be real easy to seam rip open, so that way the pant leg lays nice and flat open and it's easy to work with on the sewing machine. So maybe you're working on a blouse, you're not going to need to rip open any side seams on that or anything. So no matter what you're working with, as long as you can get it nice and flat on your sewing machine, you are good to go. Okay, so I am going to open up a little bit of the hem first, so that way I can get to my outseam here. You want to make sure that you have a nice sharp seam ripper, otherwise seam ripping can be a pain. You can also use a razor blade for this. Sometimes when working with denim, using a razor blade is very helpful. Okay, now that I have the hem open, I can undo the hem, and now I can easily get in here and start the seam. Whoa, I am just gonna rip these because they're ripping open really nice. Okay, that was easy. Now we have our pant leg open. Next, we need to figure out where we're going to put the hearts. So I cut out all of these square pieces of fabric that are going to be bigger than my heart that I'm going to draw. So I'm going to place these pieces of fabric around the pant leg and figure out where I want my hearts to be. So I'd like my first heart to be up on the thigh, and then I'd like to do another one a little lower, and then I'm just going to stagger them down the leg, creating about 6 of them. Maybe a bigger one here. There we go. So I know exactly where I would like my hearts, roughly, to be. So let's pin all those little scraps down and then draw our hearts. Remember, your pins go all the way in and then they come all the way out. I like to pin at the very edges so that way my scrap here is not going to move on me. I'm just going to put 4 pins in each one on each corner. Here we go. Now we have the pant leg all pinned up with our scrap pieces of fabric. Now we just need to draw our hearts on. I've got my chalk and I'm going to be freehanding my hearts on the little patches because I want this to have a nice whimsical look. You could also create a stencil if you want them to look perfect. Cute. So I've got all my hearts drawn on. I started with bigger and went all the way down to smaller, making sure that I change the direction that they're faced, so that way it's a nice, interesting layout. So the next step is going to be sewing right where your chalk marks are. So let's head over to the sewing machine and sew up these hearts. And I'm going to be finishing one of these hearts from start to end, and then we're gonna do the same thing to all the rest. So we are going to put on our straight stitch, and we are just gonna stitch right where that chalk line is, all the way around. Make sure you're back stitching at the beginning and the end. So I'm gonna start at the very bottom of the heart. I'm gonna use my fixed button, and then I'm going to move forward and just keep following your chalk line. I know sewing curves can be a little tricky sometimes. Engage my needle down button. When you get back to where you started, back stitch and cut. Now grab your scissors because we're going to cut out the heart. The easiest way to do this is lift up the fabric and put a snip in it. And now what we're gonna do is work our way all the way around this heart, cutting out the inside of it. Now you wanna get about 1/8 of an inch away from that stitch. I know this is hard to see. So that way it's gonna lay nice and smooth when we flip it. And for your point, make sure you're clipping all the way to the point. So that way it's gonna be nice and crisp when we flip it. Okay. And then the little curves here, if you want, you could also go in and just clip right to that stitching line, and then you're gonna get some really nice smooth lines when you flip it. There we go, now I have it all cut out. Now we're going to remove the pins and turn it to the inside. So I'm going to remove all of my pins. And now we're gonna take this fabric and we are going to push it into the hole. Push out your point for the heart. Now, if your cutout is not laying flat, you probably need to clip a little better. So now what we can do as well is go over to the iron and give this a good iron before we edge stitch this down. But check it out, we have a super cute heart hole in our pants. Now I'm going to go over to the ironing board and give this a good press. And then I'll meet you back over here at the sewing machine so that way we can give it a nice edge stitch. Now I'm ready to edge stitch. I'm going to be stitching 1/8 of an inch away from the opening here. Now the stitch is going to keep down the little facing that we created and make it nice and crisp. It's also sewing down the piece of fabric on the inside so it doesn't pop out through the heart. I'm going to start at the bottom of the heart again. I'm going to be using my fixed button and work my way all the way around. Once you get to the bottom, back stitch and cut. Our cutout heart is finished and it looks so cool, but we need to clean up these raw edges on the back. So you can see the back also looks really nice and finished around the opening, but we have all these raw edges with the fabric. I'm gonna grab my pinking shears and I'm gonna cut off right around the heart, just working my way around it. And so the pinking shears are gonna prevent the edges from fraying any further, and then we don't have that big bulky piece of fabric on the inside of our pants. There we go. So now we have the inside all pinked, the edges are finished, and they're no longer going to fray. And if you don't have pinking shears, no worries. You could totally cut down some of the fabric, zigzag the edges, overcast the edges, overlock the edges, or use your serger. So you have lots of options for that step. Now that I have one heart finished and I walked you through all those steps to finishing it, I'm gonna go ahead and finish all the rest. So let's do it and try on the pants and check them out. Now we've finished all of our hearts, so let's take a look at them inside now. So you can see how we have the hearts going all the way down the pant leg. They are looking great. And you can see that little bit of pink on the edge, which I think is a really fun little accent. And then you can see the burgundy thread that we edge stitched with. And if we turn it over, you can see our fabric that we used for that facing. And then you can see where I just pinked off all the extra fabric that was there. And now this won't fray when we wash it. And the last step is sewing back up that pant leg. So I'm going to sew back up the pant leg and try them on. And then we can decide if we really like this trend or not. So I sewed up the side seams on the pants, so let's check them out and see what you think. How fun are these heart cutouts in the pants? These are so unique. You are definitely not going to find these at the store right now. And if you do, you better send me a link because I want to see them. So what do you think? Heart holes, yes or no? Would you put cutouts in your pants? And if you did, what kind of shapes would they be and what would it look like? Leave it down below in the comments. I would love to know all of your thoughts about cutouts and what kind of cutouts you would like to put in your garments, even if they're not pants. Is it a shirt? Is it a blazer? Is it a pair of shorts? Where are you going to put your cutouts this season? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, give it some applause, and leave that comment down below. And thank you so much for watching. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that way you know when all the new videos come out every single week. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and all those other social media websites so that way we can stay connected and creative together. Speaking of that, I would love to see your projects and what you're working on right now. So make sure you tag me in your projects so that way I can repost them and share them with everyone else to keep everyone else inspired and creative. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!